third section for our skill acquisition lesson today is on characteristics of a skilled performer. Essentially, what I'd like you to be able to do from this slideshow is identify and explain these characteristics in some detail. Each slide will have one of those characteristics with some dot points listed underneath to help break it apart a little bit. First of all, skilled performers tend to have all the time in the world. Now, when we talk about time, we talk about space as well. And with space being away from a defender, a skilled performer has more time to make decisions and then execute a specific technique. In other words, space equals time equals a skillful performance. And by skillful performance, essentially we're saying good decisions and sound execution. Secondly, skilled performers make the correct decisions. They're efficient with their decisions, and accuracy starts to come with experience as well. So in touch football, for example, knowing when to pass or when to hold on to the ball, that comes from recognising relevant cues out on the field. Now those cues would be teammates and their position, and also defenders and their position on the field. Now detecting these relevant cues early gives a skilled performer much more time to process information and then make a correct decision. Next, we have anticipation and timing. Now, by anticipation, we mean the ability to predict what is about to happen given only partial cues. It's an educated guess. It's based on experience, but also some other factors. And essentially, it's about recognizing relevant cues and ignoring irrelevant cues. Recognizing relevant cues early enough allows a skilled performer to move into position quickly. Skilled performers tend not to need to wait for all the cues to take place before they make a decision, whereas a beginner might need to see all the information possible before they then decide. If you've ever played squash, I think that's a great example of the difference between a beginning squash player and a more skilled performer. Beginners tend to need to see the ball bounce off each wall and then land back on the floor again before they react and move into position, whereas a skilled performer will know exactly where the ball is going to land based on where it's headed as soon as their opponent hits the ball. They can move into position early. They haven't seen each bounce of the ball off each wall, but they know, based on experience, where that ball is going to go. Skilled performers also have a smooth and effective technique. Technique seems to have minimal energy outlay and it just appears smooth and effortless when we're talking about skilled performers. Table tennis could be an example of that, so could touch football as well though. Skilled performers also have the ability to cope with pressure. They're aware of factors associated with tight games or close contests through experience, and they've got what's called selective attention. So skilled performers can concentrate on the essential stimuli, such as the ball, and they can ignore irrelevant details, such as the crowd who might be cheering against them or cheering for them, whatever it is, it might be putting them off. They're able to ignore that kind of thing and just concentrate on what's important. That's what selective attention means. And that's a really key term in terms of skill acquisition. I'd like you to take note of that one. Okay, a couple of questions from our skill acquisition chapter in the Essentials workbook. Firstly, how is it that a skillful hockey player is more likely to consistently produce an accurate and meaningful pass compared to a beginner? And secondly, the average processing time of the human brain is 0.2 seconds and a softball pitch takes 0.4 seconds to reach the batter. What advantage does anticipation then have for the batter? There's some answers there. Feel free to pause the slideshow and just check those with your own answers and see whether you were on the right track or not. That's it for this third section. We have one more section to view for our double lesson, and that will come up next. If you could go and open that slideshow, and we'll move on with that.